Sure. I'll talk it out.
Yeah, let's just have a conversation.
Track 3.
Better not be fucking Dave Matthews Band.
Okay. Those of you who don't want to be a part of this can leave now.
Derek, please listen to me.
But if you choose to stay, which it seems like you guys are choosing,
Derek, please.
you understand and agree to the following terms and conditions.
Derek!
1.
Derek, this is the virus
You
talking.
hereby waive your right
Derek, please.
to your own personal bodily integrity.
This is not you.
2.
I'm a life-
Per the State versus Neville Reed, my colleague and I will not be held criminally liable for any felony or misdemeanor that you may be a victim of, including, but not limited to, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, disorderly conduct, destruction of property, mayhem, and first-degree murder. And 3, terms and conditions may change or be updated whenever the fuck I want! Consider yourselves notified.
Neil showing blitz. Here he comes.
Oh, boy.
Pressure ball out. Picked up. One. Touchdown Steelers.
Woo!
All right. DJ
That's good.
Good. We say that's good here.
That
DJ
was good.
Nibis, my co-host, background poet, and of course we are with special guest DJ Neko, who flew all the way in from Cincinnati, Ohio, to be with us tonight.
Just for this show.
Just
I
for
came
this
in,
show.
You know, I
Rock
wasn't there
Cincinnati.
waiting.
She was talking about how Cincinnati is actually kind of a nice place, and that it's so close to Kentucky, so I figured that's because that's where you were coming from initially. Like, I don't know, you were in Cleveland or were you in Cincinnati? I can't remember. I guess
I was
Cincinnati.
I was born in Cincinnati, and so where I'm at is like just under 2 hours from Cincinnati, so it's not a horrible drive. But I have babysitting duties, so it was not meant to be.
I know. I was staying in actually Mason, Ohio. I flew into Cincinnati. I was staying at the Great Wolf Lodge in Mason, Ohio, with 1,000 kids, and that's where they decided to have our work conference.
Should have fed him to the wolf. Seems like it was.
It wasn't that bad, and the reason they picked that location is one of our larger I don't know what you call
Facility?
it. Yeah, facility. But we're all like independent companies because we all make different things, but we all fall under the same like parent company. And one of our larger companies is right in Mason, Ohio, about 5 minutes away. And then it turns out that that company is not being converted to SAP until April. So they did not come to the conference.
Those fuckers. I'm gonna feed them to the wolf too.
So
Well,
here we are.
I have to go back to Florida in October for 2 weeks, so fun times.
Hey, better weather. Shitty state, but better weather.
I don't like the heat.
Well, we're at episode 15 of Poetic Carnage. It's hard to believe it's been 15
I'm like
episodes
really
already.
close to you guys.
What?
Like I feel like
What?
I'm like
Like it's friends? Like, yeah, we're close friends.
I am
We're
very
really
close. We are
close.
very close. I just feel like I'm bigger than you guys. Like should I sit back?
That's just
a
that.
little?
No, that's just your swagger manifesting.
That must be it.
Sit as you feel comfortable. I lean back.
I like to
Ugh.
sit like this.
Lean back.
Then go ahead. Sit as you
Okay.
want. I'm disappearing now because I'm magic.
Dude, what happened?
It's
Oh, is that your
magic.
green
Magic.
screen?
Yeah, just like the Steelers offense, I'd fucking disappeared. Although you could argue you
So,
can't
yeah, but that
disappear
was
if
a
you were
nice
never
play.
there.
Of TJ Watt picking up a fumble on Monday night's game against
Yeah,
the Cleveland
that was our
Brownies.
offense.
And yeah, I was kind of surprised that I didn't really watch the game, but I was kind of like score watching, and I said, oh, they're starting to get their shit together. But then when I finally saw the highlights, it was all defensive.
Yeah. So for instance, our defense is very good, especially our pass rush. Our offense is very bad, especially our everything. Yeah,
Oh my
we
God.
we have a lot to talk about. But yell about
yeah,
some
your
people.
Let's
team.
unpack that.
Well, yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
start with the Steelers tonight. So you're 1-1.
Yep.
You didn't have a good showing against the Niners. That was a big,
No, they
up and
they
down.
beat the brakes off of us. They came into our house. They ate our lunch. They banged our wife. They didn't flush it. They
Yeah.
I mean they did. Yeah, they clogged the toilet. They kicked our dog. They beat the fuck out of us. Like there's no the only
Have you ever seen The Dark Knight Rises when Bane goes into the Steelers Stadium and like blows it up? Like even
Yeah.
that wasn't as devastating as the Niners.
No, the only one who had a good game was TJ Watt. He had a bunch of tackles for losses. He might have had a handful of sacks. He's the second best defensive player in football. Honestly, I would have said he was the best defensive player in football except Micah Parsons exists. He is honestly, he might be the best pass rusher in football. That still might be Micah Parsons, but TJ Watt, he's already the leading pass rusher in franchise history, and Pittsburgh is just filled with pass rushers. And quite frankly, the knock on TJ is he plays on the right side, and all that really means is yes, he's not going up against the left tackle. It just means he's going up against the right tackle and the tight end or the chipping back or sometimes all of them.
That's actually not bad though, because when you think about it, most quarterbacks are right-handed. So when TJ is coming from the right side, I'm assuming this side, right?
Yeah.
The quarterback can kind of see him coming. So the fact that he's still getting there and not on the
Yep.
blind side means that it's like pretty impressive. Like,
I mean,
usually it's the blind side guys that makes, the bigger noise.
It's always been a bad argument because like how many guys have gone to the Hall of Fame and they're part of a great pass rush tandem. Like Robert Mathis will probably be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he hit 100 sacks, but he caused a lot of fumbles. He was actually better against the run than people remember. Won a Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera. And somebody has to be on the other side. I mean, there's also the crazy stat that Alex Highsmith had a bunch of sacks last year. He got around 75% of them, or he got around like 25% of them when Watt was on the field, and Watt missed a huge chunk of time last season. So like if you're opposite TJ Watt, even though you're going up against the left tackle, magically you get more sacks when he's on the field than you do otherwise. Like, wow, so it's always been a bad argument. But I could rant and rave about the man, all day. But if we're going to talk about the Steelers,
how many years has he been in the league?
I think this is his 7th year. I will actually look that up.
The only reason why I asked is like, what is the current sack record? That's by Michael Strahan, right?
Yeah, he tied it. He tied it in 2021. He was a rookie in 2017.
Yeah.
So this is his 7th. This is his 7th year.
Already
has 4 sacks.
You could shatter that record.
He should have, like, the last game in 2021, the first snap, the quarterback fumbled the ball and TJ Watt got right there, so they didn't call it a sack. And it was also scored by Baltimore officials. They appealed it to the NFL. The NFL didn't want to have the sack record break on that type of play. Like, you want that to happen live. He got a sack later on in the game. But I mean, TJ Watt, he's at worst, he is a top 5 defensive player. I still think Micah Parsons is a little bit more special than he is, but the whole Myles Garrett, TJ Watt argument, it's dead. It's done. It should have never been a discussion. I'm putting that one to fucking bed. It's an uninteresting debate. But if we're gonna talk about the Steelers,
it really is when you think about it, because whenever we hear about, even in the first 2 weeks, I haven't heard Myles Garrett's name at all. It's either Micah Parsons or TJ Watt. Like, I have not heard anything about Garrett whatsoever.
They were rookies in the same draft class. TJ Watt has missed substantial time. He has TJ Watt has 82 or 81 and a half sacks. I can't remember. Myles Garrett, I know, has like 75 and a half. So both guys get to rush the pass rusher, or get to rush the quarterback more, because it's modern day football. You're throwing the ball more. Although a lot of it, there are a lot more dink and dunks as well. But the reality of the situation is, if a guy has you by almost 8 sacks and he basically missed an entire season and he gets double teamed more than you do, he's a better pass rusher than you. And you factor in run defense, and then you factor in that TJ Watt sometimes plays coverage. There's just no debate. Like, I know Myles Garrett is a generational talent, and we all loved him. We all knew he was going to be great coming out of college. TJ Watt's better. He's just the better player, and it makes Cleveland Browns fans mad. And good, they should be mad, because they're going to be horrible for the next 3 years, because they have Deshaun Watson on their team, and their offensive line is aging. It's still good, but it's aging. And their best wide receiver is aging, and they're about to fire their head coach. And their front office is as great as we thought. And their best passer.
Yeah.
What's up?
Did Chubb go down?
You didn't see
Yeah,
that?
he's out for the year. It was gross. Don't watch it.
Okay, I gotta find it. You didn't. Oh my God, hold on.
Don't watch. It's gross. It's gross.
Is it like Theismann gross?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because you're gonna see his leg go from straight to making a H or a 4. Yeah, it's gross. You see his knee implodes, and you see every last bit of it. It's
Oh my God, yeah.
horrible. It's horrible.
I thought I saw like a piece of the video where, like,
if you see the front,
it was the aftermath where, like, they said Chubb is out.
They would not show it on ESPN again. And ESPN and a lot of broadcasts, they show some pretty gnarly injuries. But it's enough ranting about TJ Watt, my Lord and Savior, and Alex Highsmith, my Lord and Savior 2.0. Our offense sucks. Matt Canada is getting blown up by the national media. they showed the clips of the Steelers fans chanting "Fire Matt Canada." RG3, who's a very good analyst, talked about how the Steelers have the blandest offense. Yeah, it's gnarly. Actually, let's do a react to his reaction. Oh yeah, the horror enthusiast who likes murder feels sympathy and anguish. Yeah, he tried to get up 3 times. Nick Chubb is the most masculine human being walking. He like, tried to get up from that. Yeah, he wanted to walk it off.
I need the cart.
Yeah, he tried to walk that off, and then he was like, you know what? I'll take the cart. And credit the Steelers
saying,
fans.
Like, hey Nick, here's your leg. You left it behind you there.
Should I show the audience?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think everyone who wants to see it has seen it. A lot of people don't want to see it. A lot of people have avoided it. It's terrible. And shout out to Nick Chubb. I wanted the Browns to keep Kareem Hunt so there would be less of a chance of that happening. More you're on the field as a running back, the more likely you are to suffer a catastrophic injury. I mean, the more you are on the football field, the more likely you are to get hurt. I feel bad for him. He already had a major knee surgery when he was in college.
Here's the question of the day, though. Okay, so we know that we are running back by committee the last decade and a half. So we more of a passing league now. Why is it, though, that even when running backs aren't running as much as the Emmitt Smiths or the Terrell Davises of the day, like why are they getting hurt so much easier now?
Well,
like,
Chubb runs it that much because it's the Browns' offense, right? I know what you're saying.
He's like Derrick Henry. He's one of the few that are like
primary backs. I got some. There are some very, I think, obvious reasons for that. It's a good question. One, you can't hit guys high anymore. Remember Gronk? The guys are like, I can't hit him high. I can't try to separate the ball from Frankenstein, so I have to hit him low. And he kept getting lower body injuries. Well, trying to arm tackle Nick Chubb is like trying to drown a shark. It's like good fucking luck with that. He benches 800 fucking pounds, and he's made of fucking hatred. So go ahead and try to arm tackle him. So you can't hit guys high, and so you're incentivized to go low. The second one is that running backs are still the ones who are in the most vulnerable positions now that wide receivers, you can't hit them at all because you can go low. They have fewer protections. And, quite frankly, you can't, as a running back, you can get hit from just about any angle. Minka Fitzpatrick
still the lowest paid position.
It's a fucking business. It sucks. Like, I don't mind that they can't pay running backs because it's modern football. I dislike when you do a Colts where you're like, I'm not going to pay you. I don't have to, but I'm going to ask for so much compensation if I want to trade you that the team that would pay you isn't going to fork over that contract and a bunch of first rounders. That's when it feels like it's dirty pool. Now it's the Colts and it's Jim Irsay and he's an idiot and he's a spiteful little man baby. He worked really hard to inherit that team from his daddy. So, he's earned, et cetera, et cetera. But, Nick Chubb, if there ever was a running back deserving of a big contract, it's him. But you could turn around and say that play right there is why I don't want to give them a big contract because they have Jerome Ford. They just got Kareem Hunt. And, I will say this for the Browns, at least they were good at something on offense other than one pass to Pickens. Steelers are horrible. Matt Canada is, the Canada gave us forest fires and smoke. And now I want to give Canada back Matt Canada. I want to fire Matt Canada. And he's not going to get fired, even though he's horrible and everyone knows he sucks. He's part of national discourse. I think he's going to be our offensive coordinator next year because Tomlin is a guy who loves his dudes.
Matt Canada has some kind of contract, or did he see someone naked or at
the Steelers are loyal. We're loyal. It's like Matt Canada is the Tomlin, what Bob Slowick was the Mike Shanahan. And
exactly. Great point with the Slowick because we are in a similar position with the Broncos with fucking VJ, Vance Joseph. Like, whatever reason.
The balls of that man to come back to Denver in
Peyton
any capacity.
Thinks that this guy was the answer to DC. Like I told her earlier today, I said, we should have done everything possible to keep Evero as our DC. Like we should have done anything. I would have said, I will make you the highest paid DC just to stay here, please. Don't force me to go get Joseph, please.
It just drives me crazy because all the talk for many years was, wow, the offense is really, really bad. But man, that Bronco defense. And you know what? The defense is looking pretty shitty too right now.
They are real shit. Now, last year I took a lot of heat on the board when I said I understood trading Bradley Chubb, but I don't like trading good pass rushers. You have a pass rush issue on your defense. You also have I don't know who your second corner is, and Kareem Jackson is a really dumb issue.
Oh my God, 2 weeks in a row.
It's just bonehead. Like
anyone who got fined.
That one, like, there are some folks who are like, he shouldn't have been ejected, and I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, I don't know, like, if that's not an ejectable play,
it's a problem.
Actually, I don't think he even got. Did he get ejected?
He got booted. They threw his
booted,
ass out instantly.
No, yeah, no.
When it's a pattern, you have to like nip it in the
I was
button.
arguing with underrated on that because he kept saying, he shouldn't have been ejected. I said, no, that's not how it works. If you get caught targeting, you are gone. Like, that's just
how it was so dirty.
Similar hit last week. And he did, or not last week, the week before, first week of football, he had a similar hit. He didn't get ejected, but he did get fined by the league. And then he has the same thing a week later.
Now, to be fair, I'm old school. So the Steve Atwater, the Ronnie Lodds, those to me, it's like his play isn't like a problem for me because I'm old school. Like, to me, that's football. Like, you're going to come inside in the end zone and try to catch that pass, I'm going to fucking level you. I would never survive into modern football because
you would. No, you would, because you're not an idiot. Because you'd be like, oh, I can't launch myself. I can't launch my helmet. Like, even in the 90s, that play was illegal. They just didn't call it. So you're not an idiot. So you'd be like, okay, I can't launch the crown of my helmet into yours anymore. How about like that clip of Fitzpatrick that we play every week where he puts the shoulder just under the chin strap? That's a pretty good fucking play. And guess what? You're closer to where the ball is too. And Jackson did it after he already caught it, which just made it look that much worse.
That made it even worse. And then it's a penalty. And then
it's a penalty, and everybody knows it's a penalty. And so you hit a standpoint of Atwater, he had a lot of brutal high hits, but he also speared a lot of guys in the midsection because that's where the ball was. Rodney Lott the same way. Like, those are guys who it's like, okay, it sucks I can't do this anymore, but I sure like that NFL money, so I'm probably gonna stop getting fucking ejected. And like the Broncos have a lot of issues. Sean Payton was talking a lot of shit in the offseason. He shit all over Nathaniel Hackett. Well, buddy, you got the same record that Nathaniel Hackett had. Russ is basically the same guy, maybe a little bit better. And Russ, I thought that it had to have been on Hackett that they couldn't get the plays in. It was weird when he was calling the Seattle audibles. But now that Russ is doing the exact same thing, and they're talking about the wristband again, it's like, Russ, what are we doing? But, Russ, week one, he was a game manager. He wasn't very good or very bad. He had an Alex Smith stat line, a bunch of passes for no yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, made a couple of nice plays. Last week, he was horrible in the second half. He almost threw the game away in the red zone trying to make a wonky play. The Hail Mary was lucky, but sometimes you get luck. And then he missed and you guys got fucked on that no call by Sutton. We've had this conversation for years. I want the game called the same way on the last play, the same way that it is on the first one. Because that way it's objective. And if it's changing and if it's a moving thing, you're like, well, it'd be such a big call to call it. Well, they broke the fucking rules. That guy, he fucking grabbed Sutton. I think it was Sutton, right? He hooked the jersey in the shoulder pad. He turned him. He grabbed him and turned him. So when you grab a guy, it's rough, but sometimes it's legal or you can let it go. If you turn a guy, that's what always frustrates me because you're turning him for a reason. And then I think he smacked him in the fucking face too. So he wasn't trying to be dirty. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just like, damn, like he basically just jumped this dude from behind. You're like, nah, there's no flag. Don't need a flag. However, you might not have that if you threw the ball to wide open Judy. So Russ is not good. He's cooked. I watched him scramble a couple times. He got caught from behind. Russ is cooked. He's a game manager. The offensive line isn't as good. I feel bad for Bowles because he's clearly not okay, but he's on the field and he sucks right now, so he's accountable for it. It's a Shannon Sharp rule. Maybe you shouldn't be on the field then. Sean Payton has coached a horrible season.
I feel
you
like
know,
he was
did good in the
making
first
bad.
half. The first
Yeah, the
half
first
I
half
really
was
liked
fine.
up until like the last 2 minutes. Of course, that was more defensive there. Before I
Yep.
get back to your Steelers, I do want to get back to it. Let's hear from a very smart man here, the name of Shannon Sharp. I want to hear what he has to say.
My best friend.
The Broncos, they had an 18-point lead. They were up 21-3. And we heard this talk about this new culture. You got a coach that's making probably somewhere between $18 and $20 million. You got a quarterback making north of $45 million. And
I heard that.
What's going on, Ocho?
We put up the point. Who put up the points today? Offensively.
The Broncos had a 21-3 lead. Russ started out
on
doing
Arizona.
great. No. They played the Commanders.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Commanders. Yeah, my bad.
They played the Commanders, got out to a 21-3 lead, and a couple of turnover, the quickest way to get yourself out of a game and get the other team back in is to turn the ball over.
Yup.
Yeah, man.
Every time.
What's going on with Russ? What's going on?
I like Russ.
Is football still number one to him? Because
he promotes nothing else outside of just football. He promotes nothing else. He lives, eats. You know what?
That's not true. That's not no. If that was true, first off, Chad Johnson, borderline Hall of Fame wide receiver, very charismatic, smart guy. His opinion holds some weight. I used to love that guy, and he kept hitting women, but we look past that because he's really cool. So we look past that. Okay, I'm just running that out there, just because I feel like not enough people know about that. I'm just saying.
I didn't know about that.
There you go. He did it. He did it as a young man. He got kicked off of a college team. I think that's what made him go to play JUCO. Young men can make mistakes. And then when he was in Miami, he was getting married. He was doing that TV show. His wife at the time found condoms that he could not explain in his car. He got mad and headbutted her. They didn't get married.
Oh, wow.
Not a young man in his 30s. Now, I'm not saying it's okay to hit women or anybody else when you're a young man. I'm just saying that youth. I'm a former prosecutor. No, he didn't learn his fucking lesson. If you hit, to keep your hands to your fucking self is a very simple lesson. But anyway, if all he promoted was football, why did Sean Payton have to pull him aside and say, stop trying to kiss every baby, stop trying to be a politician? The infamous quote that made the rounds, like I'm paraphrasing it. If that was the case, why was he Mr. Unlimited? Why did all the commercials and the self-promotion and all that stuff go so crazy and reportedly irritate his teammates? If it was all about football, why did Sean Payton have to throw out his office and his special trainers and all that crap? I'm not saying he doesn't care about football, but I'm saying that the platform of football made him feel like a celebrity, and some of the things that he had always done just got out of proportion. He's not a bad guy. He's not necessarily a bad leader, but he got, as my grandma oftentimes said, a little too big for his britches. So I'm not
he's
buying.
Married to a celebrity, so
He's married to a celebrity, and I'll give Russ credit. He married a pop singer who had kids with another artist. And that guy has done nothing but take shots at Russ. It has a weird racial dynamic to it that I'm not going to get into. But I'm just going to say that Russ is not a bad guy. He is exactly now who he was then. He just let all the stuff that's kind of like tertiary to it get too big. And look, it's on the record. We know he pissed off a lot of teammates in Seattle. And some of those teammates in Seattle were assholes. Like Richard Sherman. Not a pleasant guy. Richard Sherman, kind of a prick. Like, it is what it is. So, I would imagine it'd be pretty easy to piss off Richard Sherman because he comes across as a very moody, emotional person. Be that as it may, we all saw what Russ did last year. We all read the report after report after report after report. So I don't buy that. He's just not physically who he used to be. And he's not a guy who was ever known for breaking down the defense like a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers. He always, I'm not saying he's a dumb guy or a dumb quarterback, but like if everybody could be a cerebral quarterback genius, then everybody would be a cerebral quarterback genius. He doesn't move the same way that he used to. His arm isn't as good as it used to be. I'm not saying he has a lame duck arm. It's just, I'll give you another guy, Matt Stafford, my personal Lord and Savior, still has a cannon. It's not as good of an arm in 2023 as it was in 2017. Now, playing in Detroit will do that to you, but, it is what it is. So I look at Russ and I go, he's a game manager now. I don't know if he knows he's a game manager. I look at Sean Payton and I'm like, once those plays are no longer scripted, you can't do anything, and you get away from the run game too quickly. I look at the defense and I go, man, Bradley Chubb sure would look good back there. Pat Surtain can only cover one guy. It's frustrating.
Here's my only problem is that Chubb, even despite being here, spent half his time being injured, the other
He
half
did.
not really getting to the quarterback. Now, he
I
had
know.
some good moments. So, like, I understand, like, why he was let go, because if you're not being that Aaron Donald or TJ Watt kind of guy when you actually get to the quarterback, then you become expendable. Now,
Yep.
as far as this year is concerned, Russ isn't really the biggest problem for me. Like, every good
He's not.
quarterback turns the ball over. Every good quarterback turns the ball over. Everyone.
Mhm.
The problem now is what we thought was our crutch is the defense is not there. So even if we're making some plays here, the biggest problem for us is consistency. So like come the second half of games, even going back to last year, we can't finish.
Nope.
And I can sit here all day and want to go and like choke the shit out of Vance Joseph, but he's going to be here at least this year. Whether or not he's here next year, I don't know. But
Sean Payton's goes through coordinators pretty quickly if he thinks you suck.
So, but we're 2 games in. I don't see them replacing them right now, even though they should. But it's just not going to happen.
But we had a really good week of practice.
Yeah,
if you want to call it that.
I will say, go ahead. I'm sorry, brother.
I was just going to say, like, at this stage, like, it's all going to come down again. It's a mentality thing with Denver right now since 2015. Like it doesn't matter who we're plugging in at coach. It doesn't matter who we got at quarterback. It's all a mentality thing. It's like we've got this loser mentality. We're like the Cleveland Browns of the AFC West. Unfortunately, we can't get out of our own way. It's how it is. Like you want this culture of winning, but we can't get there again. So it was interesting. It was after the Tebow thing when Peyton Manning came here immediately. And Coach Fox is, he's your mid-tier coach. He's not even the greatest coach ever, but with him and then Manning and Elway, it worked. We got back to the winning culture. We were positive again. We were doing things again. And I think we kept trying to like strike gold again once Russ got here. But the thing is, the difference was we didn't even really test the waters with Russ. Like we just kind of took his word for it that he was fine, that he's
and the thing with Manning was, and to your point, because I agree with you, and you raised that point even when you got him. With Manning, it was if the neck is cleared, we know he can throw and we know the brain works. And then he went out and had the best passing season ever. Like some of that night, that opening night when the bajillion touchdown passes he threw to Julius Thomas, you're like, yeah, it was pretty good. Denver looking pretty fucking good. And then an idiot safety helped. It wasn't just him, but helped ruin the season. But to your point about culture, that's what Sean Payton's supposed to provide. And you're right. It's not all on Russ. Because like I watch Russ play behind this line that Sean Payton supposedly fixed, and Russ is getting his ass beat out there. He is. Now some of the things that he does doesn't necessarily help, but like the greatest quarterback I have ever seen, like year in, year out, in my opinion, is Peyton Manning. And if it's not Peyton, it's Tom Brady. I watch both of those guys just stare at defensive ends sometimes when their lines didn't have it and go, yep, it's going to be a shit fucking day. And, it just, no matter how good you are, when the outside linebacker or the pass rushing defensive end, is about to mount you a second after you hike the ball, There's only so many bubble screens. There's only like Patrick Mahomes couldn't do it. He had 3 offensive linemen out in the Super Bowl. He got the shit kicked out of him. Tom Brady went into the Super Bowl against the Giants the first time with the greatest team ever assembled, and they didn't block the pass rushers. And arguably the guy that most people call the GOAT quarterback did not play well and got his ass beat. Like, that is the nature of football. And so for Russ, there's a lot of times like, it's like, that's not on him. He's just getting his ass beat. Why is the line like this? You look at and that's the culture of a Sean Payton team is we fix the line. If we need to pass a lot, we can pass a lot. If we need to run the ball a lot, we can run the ball a lot. The offense with Breeze in the middle of his career is a lot different than Breeze towards the end of the career. And so I am optimistic for your future because Sean Payton will get another cycle of guys to draft and guys to sign and guys to cut. But I think for me, what's so frustrating is, and in my heart of hearts, I will always pull for the Denver Broncos, even though it kills me sometimes, but I will. At the end of that Washington game, or towards the end of that Washington game, you kind of had the feeling that, okay, if Denver doesn't make a big play now on offense or defense, they're going to lose it if they don't just put their foot down. And some great teams, they have a bad game and they just put their foot down. They say, enough, no more. We get it. You ran the ball on us for 150 yards. You've been kicking our ass. No more. I'm making a play. Or Peyton Manning, when the team's down, they're down by 17 points in the fourth quarter, and he's like, enough. Fucking fly route, DT, fly route, Wes Welker, curl on the inside. One of you fucks is getting open. Run with the ball. Enough. No more of this shit. I'm going to you. We're winning this. I don't know what Tweedledee and Tweedledum are doing. We're winning
that's
this.
One thing
y'all
I
don't have
noticed
it.
about this game was we had the ball like around with 3 minutes left of regulation. And so like I'm sitting there saying, this is the one moment where we're paying Russell all this money, and this is where he needs to like make sure that we have a nice time-consuming drive to win the game. Like that's what it came down to. And I think he ended up fumbling like not too long after the drive. But the reality is we were either going 3 and out or he was turning the ball over, which, you know, the fumble really wasn't his fault, as it was like a blindside hit from behind or something. But
Yeah.
the reality is, though, that kind of stuff really doesn't have the Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or even Elway. And that's why, like, I'm frustrated about the contract with Russ, because from what I understand, I don't know if it's this year or next year, we were able to cut him with like a little bit of blowback from it, but
It'll hurt, but go draft a rookie.
That if he has a similar year to last year, that he's going to be gone? Do you think that?
Yeah, I do. And it wouldn't even necessarily be his fault. So
Right. Yeah, it's probably going to be a combination of a lot of things. But
next year, his
step up his play,
and he has to. And I want to give him some more love as well, because I come down hard on people, but I do try to be fair. And so no Tim Patrick. You don't know what Sutton's going to be. Judy is, I love that guy, but perpetually injured, just kind of came back. Now the Mims guy, I like that draft pick, and that seemed like a pretty interesting pick.
He had a great
Yeah,
great.
Why'd you stop throwing to him? Why'd you stop throwing to him?
Well, I mean, maybe Washington started defending them more. I don't know.
Then somebody else should have been open. I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like Russ does that too. He kind of like, okay, I've got this guy I'm working with is working out really well, but then like when they shut him down, you've got to be able to find the other guys, and that's the problem.
And so he doesn't have a lot of continuity. It's a new offensive system. The offensive line is bad. They're not running the ball enough with Javonte Williams, in my opinion.
But they were running well on those first couple drives.
They were. They keep feeding the rock.
I don't know. Did you watch the whole game or not?
I watched bits and pieces. I had it on. I watched some, and I had it on Red Zone. I went back and I watched the full game highlights, like the 25-minute one.
Did you see whether or not they were still running with success in the second half? Because I didn't really get
I do not believe they were running the ball very well, but I thought they got away from it too early. And so Russ is in a brutal spot. He's in a, dare I say, an unfair spot. Now, it's not as, I don't have as much sympathy for him based off of what happened last year in that contract. Because I'll tell you, I have seen Hall of Fame quarterbacks with less talent around them as the Broncos are putting out, just not like the first week of play, take a team to the playoffs. And so if he can't elevate for whatever reason, and to me, this whole talk, I'll say this in his defense as well, of I don't know if Russ is really a Hall of Famer. He's a fucking Hall of Famer. You don't get to glorify a strong, high-end game manager with game-breaking ability and efficiency for 7 straight years and tell me that he's the man, and then retroactively tell me that he wasn't the man when you still love that same type of play and praise other quarterbacks for it. That's being a fickle bitch, and I hate fickle bitches. You can be fickle or you can be a bitch. You cannot be a fickle bitch. I do not condone the fickle bitchness. And so he's a fucking Hall of Famer. If he can't do it because he's physically declining, it behooves Denver to cut him so you can just pull an anti-Rams or an anti-Saints and just embrace the cap hurt and get it over with.
Right.
Draft a quarterback. If you draft a quarterback, you can put him behind somebody like Stidham if you don't think he's ready or if he'd benefit from it. Or you can start him if you think that it would benefit from him, if it would give him a benefit, and then you just move on. Like Sean Payton, I'd always felt like he was going to be with Denver longer than Russ. And I know that he gets paid a lot of money. He was hired, to quote Nick Wright, he was hired to fix the Broncos, not fix Russell Wilson. The quickest way to fix the Broncos might be to fix Russell Wilson. But if that cannot be done, and there's a bunch of talented quarterbacks this year, you might as well get them. And you might as well go out and get them and then see, are they ready to play? Should they play? That's the next part of the analysis. And it just, I hate to say it, but Sean Payton, if y'all lose to the Jets,
it's
the
gonna get
memeing.
ugly. Hackett's gonna say, "Oh, I didn't even have Rodgers and I beat your ass."
Oh yeah, if y'all lose, if it's even close with the Jets, because Sean Payton took a cheap shot. I didn't like it. I thought it was unprofessional. It was funny, and people love Sean Payton, so he got a pass for it. But if y'all lose to the Jets, if Zach Wilson beats Russell Wilson, the Wilson battle, I'm not doing a show that week because I wouldn't be able to, because I just do nothing but yell at you all. Yell at the Broncos through all of you, and I don't want to do that. But this is what I guess,
because I'd be the one like laughing about it. Like,
you would. You're a good.
Jake's doing this to Russ.
Yeah. Fucking Zach Wilson's out here pulling a John Elway, and Russell Wilson's out here pulling a fucking who's a shitty Jets quarter. I like Geno Smith. Pulling a Sam Darnold or a Zach Wilson. It's the other side of Zach Wilson. And so I feel like for Denver, who do y'all play this week? Tell me you're playing somebody easy.
Miami.
Oh, you're going to get fucked.
No.
You're
in Miami. Oh,
hey. So here's the bright side, okay? And I don't believe this, but here's the bright side. Miami has some derp to them, and their defense is really bad. So maybe I think Tyreek Hill is banged up. Tyreek Hill might be banged up.
It doesn't matter. Denver goes to Miami. They never play well in Miami, ever. It's like they're allergic to humidity. They cannot play well. They've lost in Miami like the last 5 or 6 times. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Like, we just do not play well.
We like horses, not sea animals.
They don't play well in Baltimore either. I think the only time we actually saw a win in Baltimore was with Manning. And we try to go to almost all of the games, and the only time.
Oh, we saw Denver get their ass kicked plenty of times in Baltimore. And I think they go to Baltimore this year. So
we got to talk about Baltimore
too. They went last year, so I don't know if they're coming this year. Baltimore might be going to Denver, but Denver
they'll still beat us.
Yeah, but it's.
I mean, we've already dropped 2 home games. Like, you can't in a league
that week 1 so bad. Y'all lost to
I'm more
Jimmy
pissed
G.
about losing 21-3 after we were up 21-3 than I am about.
That was my biggest disappointment as well. I'm like,
I mean, I was mad
where
about the
is this
Raider game. I'm like,
defense?
okay, we lost by like 1, okay,
But
whatever.
but it's Josh McDaniels and it's the Raiders and it's at home.
Oh,
Now I understand Devontae Adams.
Coach.
This is okay. We're gonna shit on Vance Joseph, which is fine. Okay, at the start of the year, just before the season started, I try to represent arguments that I think make sense, even if I don't believe in them, just to show the other side. So you asked me in a roundabout way, is there any hope for Vance Joseph? Right. And I said, probably not. But some facts do exist, right? Like his first 2 years in Arizona, they were really good. Now they happen to have end of prime Patrick Peterson and Chandler Jones and an amazing pass rush. So sometimes like you can't fuck up the greatness. And then they lost some of those guys and he fucked up the greatness. The fact that Devontae Adams was getting styled on by Surtain, and then they're just like, you know what? Let's just move him to a different position. And Vance Joseph was like, yeah, I don't need to make Surtain travel with Devontae Adams. When DCs do that to me because it would disrupt their precious defensive formation, that shit makes me want to fucking die. It'd be the equivalent of being in a shootout and winning and then going, I don't want to reload because my gun, and like, no, you fucking idiot. The wide receiver is moving. The guy who's stopping the wide receiver is not moving. Then the wide receiver starts to beat the shit out of you. The fuck are you doing? If somebody punches you in the face, you block it. You try to move. Bob and weave, bitch. Do something. And then on top of that, the Vance Joseph was like, oh, are they starting to move the ball a little bit in the running game? I should probably just ignore that. There's no way they pick up a late third down in the game to ice it. There's no possible way the same running play that they always run would be weaponized against us that we haven't. Like Vance Joseph is clearly a smart enough football guy to be in the NFL. I'm not going to say he doesn't know football or anything like that. But if there is
Hold up. If he's smart enough to be in the NFL, then Matt Canada is too.
Yeah, he is. He should. He's just not an offensive coordinator. It's a Peter principle. You get promoted past your level of competency.
Here's a funny thing you can appreciate, though. The other day, right, after we lost to the Commanders, Neko turned to me and she goes, Poe was right. We're only going to win 5 games this year. And I'm not even sure if we're going to win 5. We might just go winless.
You'll get to 5. I don't even like it. I don't like seeing Denver down like this. You're a blue blood franchise.
That's why I say it's like
you're a fucking fan of them. Like it's yeah. I know you don't. I know you're not having a cash money good time.
I mean, look. Here's the bottom line for me as a Bronco fan. I've been a Bronco fan since '82.
Yep.
And for a long time, after 3 Super Bowl losses, when Elway, and the Broncos went in and got their ass kicked during that time, I'm like, man, it's so hard for a team to get to the Super Bowl, and yet we've been to 3 and got our asses handed to. I don't think I'm ever going to see this team win, but it never stopped me from being a fan, and I never will. Yeah. So I was lucky enough when John was able to get a couple before he retired, and then, of course, Manning in 2015 with the defense we had. Yeah. So if I die, I'm going to say to myself, well, I'm lucky enough to have witnessed 3 Super Bowl championships. Like, I'm lucky enough to see that. Yeah. It doesn't stop me, though, from complaining when I see shit like this because I know we're just better as an organization than this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nico.
I was going to say, do we think that the Broncos can beat the Bears?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Their DC has resigned. I got to bang on Justin Fields. I got to style on my guy. Okay. I got to bang on my guy. I don't want to do this.
He's regressed.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. He has done. Look, last year, one of the things I liked the most about him was everything sucked, and he found a way to at least offer something. Now, I'm going to get some of I don't think they're excuses, the reasons. I'm going to get them out of the way real quick just so I can address them and be fair and then bang on them. The offensive coordinator is bad. Everybody knows that he's bad. He's not calling any run plays. You should call run plays if you have Justin Fields. And I'll give you an example of this. The Eagles owner said, hey, or the GM, I apologize, said, we paid Hurts. He's a very good quarterback. Now that we've paid him, we're not going to ask him to run the ball less. We know he can get hurt, but we know that he is who he is. We're going to run the ball. Okay. Now the Eagles and the Bears are very different organizations, I think, for obvious reasons. So the OC is bad. The play calling is bad. Chase Claypool is shitting the bed with bad effort, although he did catch a touchdown pass. And all my friends who are Bears fans are talking about how it's still a really bad line. All of those things are true. Fine. I have acknowledged them. Those are true. I'm going to be fair and bring them up. This is where I have to bang on Fields. They got DJ Moore is a good wideout. I don't know how good. I think it's pretty clear he's good. They have a decent stable of tight ends. The running back isn't bad. Chase Claypool could have been better. That was a brilliant trade by us when we found out he was a cancer, and a bad trade by them. I can't believe the Packers wanted them too. With that being said, this is now your team. You are the guy. You cannot control the bad plays. And he called out his offensive coordinator the other day. I thought it was it was bad. You can tell the truth and it still be wrong. Okay. What he said, everyone basically was like, yup, it's really bad play calling and it's robotic play calling and it's not smart. You cannot do that. Now, as the star quarterback, you can go to your OC and be like, I'm going to need you to stop sucking ass or you're going to catch the back of daddy's hand. Or I'm just going to start audibling into the tight ship that I want to do. You cannot do that publicly. That even though what he said was true, you can't do that. That was not a good sign of leadership. Okay.
So do you think he just needs to go like the Willie Beeman route, like Red Dog 666? You know,
he needs to. What would help is not missing the guy wide open in the end zone. That might be a good place to start. You know what? If they're beating the shit out of your offensive line, and they are, the hot route might be a good idea. I'm not saying that if he made all the right decisions, it would have changed the outcome. I mean, the Packers just beat the soul out of them. They got fucked up last week. They're not a good football team. That defense, it's weird to say the Bears have a bad defense, but they do. But imagine we're having this conversation, and I'm showing you footage, and I'm saying, look at how bad all this is, but he's still doing everything that he reasonably could be asked to. Then we might be going, well, if he leaves, is he going to be a good quarterback on a better? It's a different conversation. Right now, everything around him sucks, but he is doing very little to make it better. And that is the issue. A quick personal anecdote. I once worked at a place, and I have some of the people who watch this would know where it is and know some of those people, so I'm not going to say where. Okay. But I once worked at a place where I had a really toxic boss. Okay. And I kept trying to find other places of employment. I just had bad luck. It was after the housing bubble. Jobs were not aplenty. Okay. No college degree. I was a college dropout. Your boy was not styling as one is wont to do these days. Okay. So I had a choice. I could deal with my toxic boss, and I thought about punching him, and it was very enticing, and he would have morally earned it, would have been wrong. So I didn't do it, but he was a very punchable man. As I understand it still is today.
He had a face you wanted to punch.
Oh, he had everything I wanted. He was a shitty person. He was a liar and a coward, and you can't be all three. You shouldn't even be one, but you can't be all three. So I had a choice. I could either go and do the best that I could reasonably do, or phone it in and make it hard on my other coworkers. Now, I wanted to do the latter because it would have been easier. And I'm being the person to admit, like, I wanted to phone it in, but I didn't do it because they were struggling in the same spot, and it wouldn't have been fair to them. Now, it's not a quite one-to-one comparison with Fields, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have a good attitude. I think he just got frustrated and had a bad moment in front of the press. Peyton Manning did with the famous, we have protection issues. But the point that I'm making is I did everything in my power to still be good at my job while I did everything I could desperately to get the fuck out of there. So if I was Fields, I might be like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to do a great job. And if they bring back this shitty offensive coordinator with this shitty head coach that they hired, I'm just going to ask for a trade. Because honestly, a lot of people are making fun of the Bears so much right now, people would understand it. There are Bears fans that think Fields suck, or they think that he could have been good, but they ruined him, who say things like, I fear for that man's life on Sundays, or it's like watching a guy get jumped play after play after play.
So technically, because I always had doubts about Fields coming into the NFL, even though last year I was like, hey, I might have been wrong. So I may
You're
end up
probably
being
right. You might be right. If I was
we'll
truly
see how the rest of the season pans out. Now, here's another thing.
What?
I pose it to Poet here. 2 other quarterbacks. One of them I really like, Jaded Hayes. And one I wasn't really sure of. Yep. And the other one I wasn't really sure of, but he's kind of proven to be kind of the real deal. And that is, of course, Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. What are your thoughts on these guys?
So Brock Purdy, I thought Brock Purdy was good enough to be drafted. I did not see him being this good. A lot of people are shitting on him. A lot of people are skeptical, and those aren't the same things. This is what I will say. I don't know if he's good enough to win a Super Bowl, okay? What I know is he's getting better. He's in a really beautiful situation. If he played for the Bears, he would not look as nearly as good as he does.
Right.
But you can't act like he's still not impressive. If he keeps improving.
The same thing about Mahomes. Like,
yeah,
Mahomes is great, but if you threw him on the Bears, man, he'd be a lot worse.
Yeah, because look, it's hard to be great when you're like, my ribs hurt. Well, why do your ribs hurt? Because the defensive linemen keep mounting me. What? During the game? Oh, like it just is what it is. It's like people who shit on Matt Stafford. You're like, he's not that good. I'm like, okay, I don't care that he's not an efficient quarterback. You go throw for 30 touchdowns in Detroit and take that type of whooping. Impressive is impressive. So 100%. We need to act like we have this toxic mentality in sports where if you're not top 5 or top 3 or top 10, you're ass. You're either good, mid, or terrible. No one can be above average anymore. Nobody can have a down season. Nobody can have a bad game. Nobody, it's all extremes. What if
I agree with you? Yeah, like they're putting so much on it where it's you can only be good, or if you have a bad day, then you're trash.
You're either the GOAT. Yeah. You're either the GOAT or you're Paxton Lynch. And it's like, what if there was a guy?
I don't got time for this Mickey Mouse bullshit.
That's right. Fuck this Mickey Mouse bullshit. What if somebody was just the 12th best quarterback in the league for a long time and he gave their team a chance to win? And some people are like, well, that's not exciting. It's like, you're right. It's not exciting. However, go look at all the quarterbacks that the Bengals drafted in the 90s. It was exciting to watch them throw away draft picks. Is that the type of exciting that you want? At the end of the day, Brock Purdy is somewhere, in my opinion, between the 14th best guy and the 18th best guy. Okay? Now, I want to see where he is at the end of the year.
Here's the only thing. The only thing about Purdy, and he's an unknown. So, like, he only started playing, like, towards the end of last year, did really well.
Yeah.
Got hurt in a game that really I'm kind of curious if he had stayed healthy, how that would have played out. Came in this year, has looked really good.
Yeah.
Now, I can't sit here and say, yeah, Jaded, Purdy's the next Hall of Famer, Tom Brady. I can't say that because it's just too soon. He's not enough games under. Haven't seen him play with, like, less talent than some of the other teams out there. But I just, from what I have seen, like, he does what he needs to do to get the job done.
He's not
same
everybody.
Same with Jordan Love. Jordan Love doesn't have half the talent he does. Now, they lost to Atlanta in a really tight game.
Well, Jordan Love is an interesting guy because he had that crazy great year in college, and people said if he comes out, he's probably going to be the number 1 pick. And he pulled a what was the name of that guy? Oh, I just had his name. Locker, who for the Titans, where he was amazing, played an extra year, like fell in the draft. He was still a top 10 pick, but it cost him, and he never quite recaptured that magic. Jordan Love was, people referred to him as an Adonis, like this crazy talented guy. And he sucked when he came in and played that Monday night against the Chiefs or whatever. Maybe it was Sunday night against the Chiefs. Well, guess what? Sometimes you can get better at things. And right now, does he look like a world beater? No. He looks like a guy who is a game manager-esque rising out of that. And it might.
And credit to Green Bay, man. Like, they've held on to him for this long. They let Rodgers go. And they said, you know what, Jordan, now's your time. We're going to see what you have. And
do something. And he's also doing it without Christian Watson, who is he was good last year. He has a hammy. He did the smart thing. They're resting him, And so has Jordan Love. I almost picked them to win the division. I didn't. I wish I wasn't a coward. I did pick them to make the wild card. If they hit on him, That's Favre to Rodgers to Love. That's going to be like 3.5 decades of at least good quarterback play. And the closest we ever had to that, and Jordan Love can be talented enough to be elite. Niners from Montana to Young to Garcia. Now, obviously, the Garcia, he was above average for a while and dropped off.
A little bit of Steve Bono in there between that too.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so with Love, am I willing to say that I'd bet on Love to be more likely as a true All-Pro than Purdy? Yeah, because one guy is a weird cross between Cam Newton and Troy Aikman, and then the other guy is Brock Purdy. But with Brock Purdy, with all that being said, yeah, maybe he would only be this good if he was in that great system and that let him develop over a long time to reach his full potential. But if he does that and he's still an above average quarterback, then he's above average quarterback. Like, I tell you this, all these people shitting on Kirk Cousins, well, Kirk Cousins looks real good to the Jets right now, doesn't he? You know, I tell you this.
He was a decent quarterback last year too.
Yeah. And you know what? He wasn't the reason they lost to the Eagles either. But now everyone shits on it. Like it's we have to get back to,
like, you know, he's kind of hit his plateau. But here's the thing, like Brock. You know, I've heard so many people, like, I still hear people today say that Tom Brady was just a game manager, and I'm like, well, if he's a game manager, give me that all fucking day. The dude has fucking like 8 or 9 Super Bowl appearances and like 7 fucking Super Bowl wins.
10 Super Bowl appearances, 7 wins, I believe. He was a game manager. He was for 5 years. He played for he took the LeBron James route. I'm gonna play for 2 fucking decades. He was a game manager for 5 fucking years. He was. No, that's not true. He was a game manager for the first Super Bowl. They missed the playoffs of the second one. He was a game manager in the third. By the time that he got to the third Super Bowl, he had led the league in passing a year prior and was a big boy quarterback. It took time to develop. Peyton Manning, they threw him into the fire and said, hey, son, go out there and get your liver lacerated, catch that ass beating, and figure it out. I can tell you that while I always thought that Peyton Manning was the better player, if I had my choice between being brought along slowly or catching a jumping, I might throw some dink and dunk passes for 4 or 5 years. It would have hurt his legacy if he had never developed beyond that. But then he broke the passing record for touchdowns. So just because, and it's crazy, because we will do things where we act like a guy at one point of his career was it entirely. Some people act like Tom Brady was always a great passer. Some people act like he was always a game manager. You know, and it's like, no, guys, especially who play for a long time, they develop and they evolve and they get better because that's how that usually fucking works.
All right. Before we do get back to the Steelers, I know I told you we're promising to get back because I want to hear your thoughts on what can help the Steelers improve. You do have some information about the NFL and what's around the league, so just kind of take us through the news that you have about what you want to talk about.
So there was the comments that Fields made. I know we touched on that. And his GM stuck behind him and said we don't think he's a finger pointer. I think most people are viewing it as he had a bad moment, which happens. Still shouldn't have fucking said it. Stephon, yeah, it is a learning moment, and it's one that comes out of frustration. Tonight, Brandon Ayuk is out in the game against the Niners, or the game against the Giants. He plays for the Niners. The Panthers are not expecting Bryce Young to play against Seattle. He got dinged up. Not a good sign. Yeah, small quarterback behind the worst line in football, missing games early in his career feels like a bad omen. I'm rooting for Bryce. The big one, Stephon Diggs tore his ACL today in practice for the Cowboys. So one of the best. Trayvon, you're right. I'm sorry.
Because I talked to them earlier. I thought he was talking about Stephon.
I'm blaming you. That was my mistake. Was clearly yours. What I read was he tore his ACL in one-on-one drills. That's a big blow to a good defense. He's a gambling cornerback, but he's a gambling quarterback who gets a lot of picks, so he wins a lot. He's still a pretty decent cover guy when he's not gambling too much. But it's the first big blow, unfortunately, for the Cowboys. I'll be interested to see if they try to make a move, maybe get some depth or whatnot. It really sucks for him. The bright side is ACL injuries are no longer the death of a career. Most guys can come back and be 100% okay. So I don't think that his career's over. And some other news. There was the big sideline blow up that AJ Brown, one of my guys, had with Jalen Hurts. He said today that he does not have beef with Jalen. He had they had that big blow up on the sideline because he wasn't getting the ball and they were struggling. He then caught like a 25-yard touchdown that got called back off of a questionable call. I thought that the call was correct, but enough people disagreed with it that I might see how they might be right. It sucks for them because that probably would have taken a lot of tension out of the air for them as well. Minka Fitzpatrick is coming under fire. A lot of people are calling him a dirty player for the hit on Chubb. I do not believe so, but obviously I might have some bias there. Joe Burrow.
I don't
Go
see how
ahead.
you can because I just can't see how you can. Like, it's unfortunate, but as we talked about earlier, backs are bigger. Like, who the fuck is going to attempt to tackle Derrick Henry? Nobody. And they talk about it during games all the time. The commentators are like, yeah, you can't tackle that guy high. No, you have no choice but to. And these corners are smaller.
Yep.
So they have to cut them. And it's unfortunate when it happens, but that's not a dirty play.
It's not a dirty play. I don't think it's dirty. Some people, the Steelers have a reputation for being a dirty team. We can debate whether that's fair, unfair, somewhere in the middle. Minka Fitzpatrick is a very chippy, edgy player. He plays with a lot of emotion. I think that that's an objective fact. A lot of people said, well, the play was almost over. Why'd you have to hit him? My response would be, well, he's Nick fucking Chubb, and I've seen him break tackles that didn't make sense to me, and they didn't want to give up a touchdown. I feel bad that it happened. I don't think that it was dirty. I'll tell you what, the opinion on the matter that I care the most is Nick Chubb's. If Nick Chubb looks at that play and he says, hey, I think it's dirty, I will give that some credence because Nick Chubb is not a pouty hoe, and he's not a fickle bit.
Was Nick's progress stopped when it happened?
That is one thing that's in debate. It was stopping, I would say, but the play was not blown dead.
That's my point that I'm getting to because we watch the officials when they do this, and like, look, if Nick comes out and says, "Oh, progress is stopped. It was a dirty play," like, okay, I'm gonna be like you, all right, but it's not gonna be Minka's fault because the reality is, if the officials, sometimes we watch them on the goal line, you see the offensive line pushing the running back through to the goal, and the refs will let it go all day long. Like even if he stopped, and they don't do it. They just let him push him. They'll say, okay, yeah, they're just letting the play go. But then other times like this, if he's not going anywhere, then it's the official's job to blow the whistle.
It is.
At that point. And so it's their fault because if they're not going to show consistency of when they decide that the play is stopped, because we see it with quarterbacks and everything else. Like if the quarterback's running and he can't go anywhere and they stop and they're going to blow the whistle because they want to protect the quarterback. Well, maybe we should start doing that to running backs too, even at the goal line. If they can't initially get in, even though we think it's a great play, if like Nick hits the line but then bounces off and runs around into the end zone, we think that's a great play. But if he doesn't get in and they blow the whistle, I'm fine with that because at least you're being consistent.
It is. And what I would say is it looked like his progress was stopping, but he was still trying to break the tackle. It didn't feel like he was held up. And there's like that, it's like that quarter of a second, half second pause where like everybody goes, yeah, the play is over. Now, this is what I will say. Minka Fitzpatrick hits really fucking hard. And he gave himself, he has had some.
He probably hurt himself hitting that leg.
He did. No, he did. He was on the ground. He did not actually get up immediately, and then he got taken to the hospital later on because he had a chest injury on stopping a long
would
run.
have called Nick. I would have said, Nick, man, I feel so bad about your leg, but dude, you really hurt me. Your leg.
Yeah, your legs really just almost caved my chest in.
I might have to retire because your leg took me out, dude.
Right. And so at the end of the day, I think if to the people watching, if you haven't seen the play, make sure you know what you're looking at. Because if they show the back end of that injury, it is visceral and gritty. Okay. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, Bengals. Burrow is still day to day, and they don't know if he's going to play against the Rams. So of course I traded for him in fantasy last week. I traded Herbert and Kenneth Walker for him and Tyler Lockett because I had a strong team and I had a lot of depth. And Herbert was my starter. I didn't have a backup. I got beat up for Jared Goff. So I was after a really strong team. And I still might have fucked myself. But anyway, for Joe Burrow, like Joe Burrow, I don't like the team that he plays for. He re-aggravated that calf injury. I feel for him. The NFL is not quite as fun when one of the best players, especially if it's a quarterback, is out. It's like the Nick Chubb thing, but kind of elevated. Not in terms of injury, obviously, but in terms of loss. I would say that I don't know if I would typically say just sit them and let them rest, but if they go in 3, that's the year. So they have to play him. And honestly, if they play him and then they lose the Rams, you might shut them down. That's the spicy talk. But
Yeah,
he'll hate that. He'll hate that.
Here's another question. So obviously some teams that have decent O lines, their quarterbacks have some success, and we've seen it across the league. Even if they have bad lines, sometimes the quarterback just makes plays. But it seems like O lines these days, no matter what the team, are kind of like shitty overall. Like they're just not very good.
Yeah.
Do they need to maybe rework the rules regarding like protection for quarterbacks with the line? Like, do they maybe like decide to themselves, we used to call this a holding penalty, but maybe we need to re-look at it and say, okay, if it's only a certain way, like if he's tackling a guy, yeah, you call it.
I would say so, but they let so much holding get away with anyway. It's the part of we talked about this ad nauseum. Like most of the time, play gets better throughout time. You develop more techniques, get better athletes. I'm not saying that the offensive linemen today aren't better athletes than they were in yesteryear, but the guys in yesteryear knew a whole lot more about actually blocking. And a lot of that really comes down to college football. I don't know what you do because with Joe Burrow, he got hurt in training camp and then he hurt himself throwing the ball. He was out. He threw the ball. He threw a touchdown. He wasn't hit or anything. He just aggravated it as he threw the ball. Then on the other hand, you get the Aaron Rodgers injury where his tackle is cutting and there's a controversy about the field. And I don't know. That's a different conversation. I shouldn't ramble too much. But what I'm getting at is, to your point, let's say they change the rules. It's like, yeah, those guys didn't get hurt there. Those are injuries that will always happen anyway. But maybe if we fix this over here, it'll still help preserve the quarterbacks. So I don't fucking know. I really don't. I think that at a certain point, you just got to pay more money for your offensive line, even though paying for guards isn't exactly a great way to win football games. Hi, Quentin Nelson and the Colts.
Maybe it's just a matter of like schemes or whatever, but they need to kind of
come here, dog. Sorry, my dog is being a nut job. She's trying to eat the pillows. All right. Yeah, I caught you. She was hiding under the blanket, trying to eat the pillow. So I have moved her closer to me. For our viewers, if you see me reaching over, I'm just petting this dog who is bored, even though we went on a walk and my fat ass was sweating in the hot Kentucky summer. And she has a million toys on the bed that she can play with. She wants to eat the pillow, so I apologize for that. But I feel what you're saying because like the league sucks if the quarterbacks ain't playing, and so what do you do? Are you gonna stop?
Right.
Gonna go to bed? Go to bed.
Well, before we get to the college, there's a couple of college teams we're going to talk about, but I want to get back to the Steelers. Like,
sure.
At this stage, what is your opinion about how they're going to fix going forward? Like, because now it's like the Broncos. Like, you're 2 weeks in, you're 1-1, but you didn't look great in the win. It was all defensive. So, what is your views on how the Pittsburgh Steelers can fix themselves going forward?
Throw the ball to George Pickens more. Deontay Johnson will be back eventually. Najee Harris has to be hurt because he looks so slow. He's never a burner. but he looks really slow. So you have to give more snaps to Jalen Warren, who is our backup running back. He's very explosive. You have to get the ball to Pickens more because he's a fucking star. That touchdown, I don't know if you saw it, the 70-yard touchdown was just pure talent. Took the ball over the middle and just ran by motherfuckers. You have to never call that fucking 3rd and 1, option play, running play with Pickett again. That shit shortened my lifespan and decreased my sperm count somehow. They have to run the ball more, even though it doesn't fucking work. Fryermuth has to be involved. I mean, to quote RG3, it is a bland offense, and they only have, I'm paraphrasing actually, not quoting. It's a bland offense, and it feels like they only have 5 plays, which is a criticism that Steelers fans have had for a while. But he's not going anywhere. So there has to be better execution. Quite frankly, it comes down to the guy I'm going to bang on. I love Pickett. Pickett is not in a great situation. It's the same thing that I said about Fields. The Steelers have given you Najee and Jalen Warren. They've given you Freiermuth. They've given you Pickens. You have Deontay Johnson when he gets back. We have Allen Robinson III, who hasn't been great, but he is a decent third option as a wide receiver. We have drafted new offensive linemen who you have to give them some time to gel as well. Pickett has to do first-round quarterback shit. He has to lift some of the load that's not fair for him. And I know it's not fair. And I know he's a rookie.
Do you
It has to happen.
maybe bench him for who? Trubisky?
Trubisky, I love the biscuit, but he's a known quantity. Pickett has
all I mean is is this maybe if you say, let's see if we can light a fire in a Kenny. So if Tomlin comes out and says, you know what, we're just going to see what Mitch can do, because we're not moving the ball or whatever, and then see if that kind of gets Kenny to kind of get shit focused and what
I think he is focused. He's a self-motivator. I think for Pickett, this is what I will say. There were several guys after that game, analysts, who talked about how bad the offensive line blocking was for Pickett, and they felt bad for him. Dave Wannstedt made the point. He was talking with Colin Cowherd. Steelers defense is really good, and then when the Steelers play a team that doesn't have 2 pass rushers, they'll look a lot better, and Pickett will do some nice things, and we'll be like, yay, we're a good team. And the Steelers will be an above-average team who might make the playoffs but not do much more. The time is now for Kenny Pickett. You never drafted him solely for the physical measurables. He was not like a Trevor Lawrence type prospect. He had enough talent to be a first rounder, but you drafted him for the experience, the intellect, some decent mobility, and leadership. Mm-hmm. This is a prospect. He just has to play through it. And if it means winning ugly and he's getting his ass beat and he has to make some big plays, like that touchdown pass he threw to Pickens, hit him dead over the middle, and a defensive lineman blew him up. He hurt his shoulder. He actually went to the locker room to get checked out. I thought I was going to get flagged because he wasn't being dirty, but he hit him and he landed on him, which is a flag these days. He might have to fucking he's probably going to have to take some shots to the chops and just grind through it. It's like paying your dues.
So do you think it just might be still just another growing year?
You just grind. You got to grind. You just got to grind through it. Now, I won't lie to you. It would be helpful to the young quarterback if you ran the ball a little bit more and then did this. This is crazy. You've never heard of it. It's fancy. It's called play action passing. All right. So the quarterback, check this out. It's legal. I didn't think it was, but you act like you're handing the ball to the running back and then you keep it. And then the defense thinks that the running back has it, and then you throw it. I know. It's cutting edge shit. I saw that. I could not wait to fucking page you and let you know. I almost called you on my home phone. This shit is cutting edge.
I'm on to you,
I would
John
fight
Elway.
Matt. I will fight Matt Canada. Matt Canada, box me. You fucking ruined my offense.
All I knew was just to hand the ball off. I would just hand the ball off.
Go. It's so bad. Here's another thing they can do offensively to help. The no-huddle offense helps a lot of quarterbacks. You get in a rhythm quicker. The defense can't substitute. yada, yada, yada. Maybe script some plays. I don't know. Maybe call some of the same plays Kyle Shanahan does. Maybe just plagiarize. Anything would be great. Other than that, I know that my defense will never have more than a 3 to 7 point lead. And watching our offense makes my liver shortly turn off and slowly turn off.
Oh my
And
god.
I don't drink. I just feel my body shutting down, and I'm like, take me, Lord, to your sweet embrace. And he's like, no, you must be punished and watch this shitty football. A halfback draw. Who knew? Jizz on your face. Like that's literally that's what the offense is. It's ass, and I hate
All
it.
right, what do you have for us, Anubis? I saw you pulling something up.
Sorry, I have to pull something up. Okay,
Mhm.
I got you.
Kyle Orton. I'm the former quarterback of the Denver Broncos. You know what I'm going to miss about Denver? Nothing. The only good thing about Denver now is that they recently got an IKEA. It sucks. Okay? If you're Tim Tebow, it doesn't suck. If you're John Elway, it really doesn't suck. You walk down the street and people give you quarters even though you're not even homeless. You know what John Elway reminds me of? That horse you guys have by your airport. Demon horse. I'm on to you, John Elway. I know what you're doing. And I know that you have cloned Tim Tebow. John Elway, I strongly dislike you as a human being. Now I want you to check this out. My rocket neck beard. If it wasn't for beard, I probably would have jumped off of Pikes Peak by now. If I knew that all I'd have to do as a quarterback is hand off the ball, I would have just handed off the ball. I'm going to give you a little lesson from you, boy. This is how you throw a football.
The GOAT?
Wise words from Kyle Orton.
Was that actually Kyle Orton? I can't remember what he looks like.
No.
Thank God.
No.
Do you remember the? Do you remember the blood?
That was right after Tim got drafted.
Okay, that I remember that Twitter account that was amazing, and then I remember the dumbest controversy ever where he donated blood and people got mad. That was yeah. He had the audacity. So the Broncos had a blood drive where he went to a blood drive and he asked the team, and they said it was okay because it was like on the weekend, so it was somewhat close to the game. But after like X amount of hours of rest, he was going to get his blood back. But people who are dumb and didn't Google like how like long you're out after donating blood were like, oh my God, he doesn't care about winning, and he's in Denver and he's not going to have enough blood, and he's a neckbeard, and it was just like, yeah, or that's not how that works, and you're just dumb. Like, or you could just own the stupidity. You could just say I should have looked into it more, or you could double down. Oh, you're doubling down, and that's what a lot of people did. There was a great moment in message board history.
Great moments in message board
histories.
I'm wondering, like, if we could go through.
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh no.
At some point, will you learn the fucking plays in the National Football League?
I think this is us now, even without McDaniels.
Oh, God damn it. How many guys does he have? Fuck me. Fucking bullshit. You come here.
That was a classic, man.
I can't believe he's the head coach again.
Oh, I know.
Only due time, man. Due time. All right.
So we one quick thing.
All right.
We felt like it was a conspiracy when he came to Denver to make us suck even more. So to elevate the Patriots, and then he went back to the Patriots like the following year.
No, he actually went to the Rams.
The Rams as an OC, yeah, and he sucked there.
Yep.
His performance.
Then he went back to New England. They had success because it's Brady.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So.
And then he fucked the Colts and told them that he'd coach their team, and then he backed out because Bill Belichick said that, hey, I've reportedly said I'm retiring soon. You can be the coach. And then Bill hit him with the psych. I lied, bitch. Go coach in fucking Oakland. And he was like, yes, Dad. Darth Hoodie is a fucking fickle mistress. I hate Josh McDaniels. He's a low character guy, got a very punchable face. I like Matt Canada more than I like Josh McDaniels.
Wow.
Because at least I'm sure that Matt Canada is a good dude, a normal human being away from football. I'm sure that he's not a cheater, that he tries his hardest, that he hasn't gotten carried in life, and he's just not. I don't want to actually fight him. Okay, he's just not a very good offensive coordinator. He wasn't a very good coordinator in college. I think he knows enough football. He should be. I'm sure he'd be a very good assistant coach. I know that technically a coordinator is an assistant coach.
To me, he's like Vance Joseph. They're
In
adequate
over their head.
but they're only a product of the talent they have on the field. So, as you pointed out to earlier, when Vance was over in Arizona, he had a lot of great players, so it made him look good. But when you don't have quite that many great players, that's when it fails. Because even when he was in Miami, he wasn't that great either.
No, he was not.
For whatever reason, he keeps getting job offers. And I'm like, why?
I think that he got taken.
An overstacked team. There's no way he's going to succeed. There's just no way.
I think that his personality makes him enticing for head coaches to hire because he's probably easy to deal with for them, and the players. I also think that you guys hired him so late, there were not a lot of coordinators available. And Sean Payton, I read somewhere he has a reputation of firing or going through coordinators pretty quickly if he thinks that they're not up to snuff. I might have actually seen that I think I saw that on Broncos board when I was perusing it, that he has a reputation for hire slowly, fire quickly. I think so. Yeah, it had to have been. Whatever poster that was on the message board, thought that sounded fairly accurate, so I'm going with it. But it jives with my knowledge of him. I just, and I don't even like Vance Joseph, or dislike him, as a person. I don't like that people call him radio. That smacks of some pretty bad isms to me. He's just not good.
I still think it's funny. I think it's funny.
I mean, it isn't the worst thing to ever be said. No, I think it's in poor taste, but he's just not good. He's just not good at his job.
That's Bronco fandom for you. We are in poor taste, boy. We are.
It is. He is. He's bad. He's not good. He is the opposite of good, which is bad. And that is my expert analysis on Vance Joseph. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh yeah, one thing I do want to touch on for the Steelers. I will say this: I still think that we will make the wild card, but I fear that we'll be playing like the 6th or the 2nd seed, and then get styled upon greatly. And it is. I still believe in Kenny Pickett, but if things go south in a draft class, I'm hearing that there might be 4 to 6 guys taken in the first round. The Steelers might be. It is on the table that they take a quarterback early next year.
Is Caleb Williams in that draft? I can't remember.
Caleb Williams is the obvious one. Bo Nix. I haven't watched enough college ball this year, but I keep on all the shows that I watch. I keep hearing the number low end 4, high end 6. So that's a lot of quarterbacks.
Bo Nix, he's an interesting prospect, but he scares me. I start thinking Bo Callahan from draft day.
It's a cursed name. It's a cursed name. Except for Bo Jackson.
Well, I do want to get into some college ball.
Absolutely.
Teams in particular. One, my Virginia Cavaliers. For those that
I think they have the same record as the Broncos.
We're actually 1 loss more. We have 3 losses right now.
Well, wait for this week. Wait for this week.
And unlike the Broncos, we have not kept it close as far as the Cavaliers. We opened up with Tennessee, so they were ranked.
That's given.
Yeah, so we lost 42-10 or something. So I kind of expected that, but of course we just came off the season where 3 players got shot and killed the year before.
Charlottesville's getting rough.
And so it was this whole sentimental thing. So we expected to get our ass kicked by Tennessee. But then we went home and played James Madison and then lost in the second half to them by a couple points. So I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, okay, so this is bad because we our coach that we had last year, Bronco, is not there anymore. So
I like Bronco.
Mendenhall's gone.
Mendenhall.
He wasn't doing the job, so we've got some other dude who I'm not really familiar with, but seems like a nice enough guy. But you know, in the end, it's got to be about wins on the field. It just is, and I get frustrated with the Virginia Cavaliers because I watch all these other teams. So look at like North Carolina, they went and got Mac Brown. And I'm like, that's what we have to do. We have to go find proven commodities at the highest level to coach for the Virginia Cavaliers. And then last week we went and played a former team from the ACC, Maryland Terrapins, who we have just like sort of rivalry with, but we don't play them that often. But ended up playing them, got smoked 42-14. It was 14 all at halftime, and then we just decided not to play anymore after that.
Just like the Broncos.
And so I got a video here. It's just a couple guys. I don't know who they are. I haven't watched this. They're going to kind of give us their input on what's going on. I got a feeling it's not going to be very pretty, but let's check it out and see what they
Can I ask a question real quick before you play it?
Sure.
So James Madison, do they play in the state of Virginia?
I think so, but they're like lower division, I think. I don't think
they're
not Division 2, I don't think. I think they're Division
Okay,
1.
that's what I presumed. Because of the name like James Madison, I would have presumed that they would be in Virginia. Are they like one of those tricky teams like Appalachian State where they're better than they oftentimes look, or are they the exact opposite where Appalachian State can punch up?
It was supposed to be a gimme to Virginia, and
you think of like, you ever think of like when Bama plays Bethman Cookman, like,
or like Citadel or IUPUI?
That's what James Madison
Okay.
is. And we were up 35-21, like going into the fourth before this severe thunderstorm came along and halted the game for a little bit. And I'm like, okay, we should be able to finish this out, but no, it really turned ugly at that point.
Okay,
So,
I wasn't trying to be a dick. I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. Totally fine. Trust me.
Should have been a gimme.
All right, Aiden, what were your takeaways from this last week's loss?
I think looking at the defense, they now rank through 3 games 123rd in the FBS.
Sounds like the Broncos.
Per game. You've also got 23rd per game, and you're not going to win games that way. So that's definitely something they need to improve. What about you?
Yeah, on the offensive side of the ball, I was watching Anthony Calandria, a freshman quarterback all game. And of course, he's a talented kid, but my big takeaway, he's still a freshman with a lot to learn. And we saw that in the second half. Interceptions on 3 consecutive passes. It'll be interesting to see
Jesus Christ.
Tony Elliott sticks with Calandria or goes back to Musket with the injury in mind.
And I think speaking of Tony Elliott, decision-making, the Cavaliers had the ball with 1:18 left in the second quarter and all 3 timeouts. And instead of taking risks and trying to go score, they chose to run the ball out and go into halftime tied. If Virginia wants to win games, they need to take risks. They can't play conservative, especially with the start they've had so far this season. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, a bit more of a positive takeaway. Malik Washington was definitely a highlight in this last week's loss. 9 catches for 141 yards. Whether it's Musket or Calandria at quarterback going forward, Washington will be a key offensive piece of any victories the Virginia football team will get this year. I'm Henry Pelletroni.
I'm Aiden Ballard. WVA.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Oh, that must be like their college news station.
Yeah, those are. They did a very shout out to those young men. They did a very thorough job, especially with the amount of time that they had. And it's always tough when you have to stand in front of a camera and explain why your team got styled on. So, they were fair without. I one time had to. I was doing freelance journalism. It was sports editor at a junior college newspaper. And I had to write I was hired to moonlight for coverage for this one small high school, right? Or to cover this small high school for the playoffs. And I had to find a way to fairly describe the ass kicking that they took without being a dick. And it was something like, it was a close first half. They let it slip away a little bit and gave up a field goal. And then the second half, there was to be fair to them, a controversial call, which did screw them. And they just gave up 3 straight touchdowns because the team was it was a high school team that usually competed for the high school championship, right? And they had made the playoffs the first time in 3 years. So it was an uphill battle. So they had the ignominious task of having to stand up there and explain why the school that they go to got fucking fisted without being homers or underplaying it. So there's a lot of talent in that video, and I appreciate their efforts.
Yeah.
With that being said, apparently you guys suck at football, and I am sorry because I know you love you some college football.
Yeah, look, I don't ever trick myself into thinking that we'll ever make the college playoffs. I mean, we're not that kind of school in terms of like football. I mean, we've had successes in bowl games and in the past and stuff like that, but we've never really hit that top echelon of like the Bamas or the Ohio States and stuff like that.
Ole Miss.
I don't kid myself that we're ever going to be there. Be nice. Like, I never thought for any second that in basketball we'd actually win a national championship. It happened. It was one of the greatest moments as a Virginia fan to see that. Now, if it only happens on the football level, that'd be I might as well just kill myself at that point because I've gotten everything I wanted. But
wow,
yeah. But I think another problem is besides the coaching, like we're kind of settling for coaches rather than searching out the best that we could possibly get.
It's luck with that. So like Kentucky when we landed, go Big Blue. Bob Stutz, it was a big get because he was a good coach. He had struggled a little bit. I can't remember the exact reason why he was let go from the team before he got to Kentucky. He's done a good job. Sometimes you line up, and then there's a guy who's good that people are down on, and you pull UK. In the NFL, the best example of that is the Eagles fired Andy Reid because they're convinced that he was the problem. Spoiler alert, they were wrong.
Yeah, well,
and the Chiefs fired. What was the name of that guy? It doesn't matter. It was nepotism, but they fired him. He was the one that Dwayne Bowe got into it with. And Andy Reid was available, and they snapped him up immediately. So you are always a good coach or two or away. So I would keep the hope up. And honestly, as the playoffs expand, and coaches are more likely to be on the move, you will have a chance of landing a good one. It's just, I don't know. You maybe need to pull a Deion Sanders and just say when he gets there, open that portal up, bring in some new guys.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because like, and speaking of Sanders, he's on the offseason. He went to Colorado, which I don't know what the connection there or like how Colorado was able to like wrangle in there, but it was an unknown. I mean, Sanders did coach at another school for a little while and had success, so he did have like a resume when Colorado went after him. But like, when you get into like a college like Colorado, as far as a coach, like the expectations goes up. So, Deion gets there and there's, we don't know exactly how they're going to play out, but they opened up their weekend by beating ranked TCU.
And it made me so happy.
Yeah.
It made me so happy.
Yeah, because we know Poet didn't like the fact that they were in the national championship game.
They shouldn't have been.
I don't think TCU was like really happy they were there either that day.
No, I don't think they had. I don't think they had a good time. When the team is beating you so bad that they politely put their second stringers in, and then their second stringers are still beating the shit out of you, that you should not have been there. You passed go and collected $200 that you were not supposed to collect, and it was beautiful. And I laughed so hard when Colorado beat them. I was so stoked when Colorado hired Deion Sanders because I have followed his career. I'm a huge Deion Sanders. I am an unabashed Deion Sanders homer. So everything I say about him should be taken with a grain of salt. Obviously, I would not purposely misrepresent anything. So he was a really good coach at Jackson State. He is unsurprisingly a very good recruiter. He does not get the credit that he should for his X's and O's. But when he was I think I saw this in his football life or when they did a special on him when he was going to the Hall of Fame. He was one of the first players to buy the portable DVD players way back in the day, and he studied film well before everybody had like an iPad and you could watch film and tape whenever. and he always knew the X's and the O's very well. He played wide receiver. He's a pretty good wide receiver and excellent kick man. So he knows special teams and he knows offense as well, not just reverse engineering it as a defensive back, but he also knows it. He hires a lot of old school football coaches who are knowledgeable as well. He is an old school coach. The music in the locker room or in the practice rooms, it's not stuff that he goes for. He drives around because he had the amputated toes on the golf court, and there's he went off on his players, but fairly. He got killed, and I thought it was so unfair and so stupid. He shows up at Colorado, and he tells them, and there's the clip of it, and he did it professionally. He was not soft, but he was not unkind, and he said, "You lost 11 games last year. This is probably not the place for you. The transfer portal is a great spot." He gave an interview with Shannon Sharp, which I recommend everybody check out. I've only seen about half of it, but he told Shannon Sharp, "Look, I told those kids they weren't good enough to be at Colorado. If they thought that they were good enough, and my words ran them off, they weren't made of the stuff that I wanted them to be made of." He opened up the transfer portal. A lot of people came. He's got his son Shador, who will probably be a first-round quarterback, drafted. They have Hunter.
Well,
He is. Deion Sanders is one of the greatest athletes in American history. All right, he batted .265 in baseball. He was a starting center fielder for a team. It might have been the Yankees in the World Series. Wide receiver, kick returner, DB. He's a special type of athlete. His son, unsurprisingly, also a special type of athlete. Smart guy, tough kid, huge fan of him. And so I'm not a Colorado fan. I used to actually troll Bronco Joe. Shout out to the homie Bronco Joe. I was like, wait, Colorado has a football team? I was just being obnoxious, but they have a football team, and I don't think they're going to necessarily beat Oregon. But I will tell you, I don't know how long he's going to be in Colorado, but it is only to that program's benefit. And a lot of people don't like the transfer portal. It probably has some hiccups that can be worked out. But this now means that Nick Saban cannot keep 5-star offensive and defensive linemen on the bench for 2 years and then refill them and let them get a lot of playing time in the latter half of the season or in blowout games and just constantly have a better roster year in and year out than everybody else. So the transfer portal, while it has disrupted a lot of things, and maybe we don't like the name, image, and likeness or all that stuff, it has made college football more exciting. And I say that I'm a Nick Saban guy. I really respect and admire him. And Deion Sanders, it's not just recruiting. He knows the game. And I love his style. I love his attitude. He's a good man. I'm really happy for him. And I thought the way that Colorado responded in the second half and overtime of that game was extraordinary. So I wish Kentucky had hired.
That's one of the problems with Virginia's recruiting right now, and it's unfortunate because one of the players that was killed in that shooting was a very promising receiver who probably would have been like a first rounder in the draft. And it's so unfortunate. But now he's talking with Malik Washington, might be a guy to look out for. But again, it's just down the road. But recruiting just hasn't been as strong as it once was. I mean, we had Bryce Perkins at the quarterback for a while. He was a pretty nice thing, but he's only like a backup in LA with the Rams. So just shows you no matter what kind of success you have at the college level, it doesn't mean you're going to translate it to the NFL. So.
There are guys who make it in the NFL who are much better in the NFL than they were in college and vice versa. Sometimes I think it's just some people learn at a different speed. Sometimes it's just the system that you're in. There are also coaches are human beings too, and sometimes coaches don't put the right players out on the field for good and bad reasons, or adapt, like Matt Canada or Josh McDaniels, for all kinds of reasons. And I would hope that everybody should be rooting for Virginia this year, unless they're playing, like your team.
Yeah, I go in every game saying, "All right, let's do this
with the greatest of hopes,"
and then I just
with the greatest of hopes. I checked to see if we played my.
They got to they're 3-0. They got to their third game last week against Colorado State, and really,
Colorado State.
Yeah, so there was this like sort of shit talking before the game where the Colorado State coach was kind of like
a bitch.
Sort of, yeah, he was kind of giving shade to Dion, saying, if I do interviews, I don't wear sunglasses. I'm like, really, dude? That's what you're gonna go with?
It's so yeah. He was like, when I talk to adults, I take my sunglasses and off and my hats off. Okay, so when you talk to little kids, you put on sunglasses and your hat on to let them know that they're a little kid. Like, you fucking idiot. Like, I don't care. Like, his mom raised him however she raised him. By bringing up the mom, you basically directly or indirectly, depending on how you interpret it, took a shot at Dion's mom, which means you took a shot at the Shador's grandmother. Saying he basically was saying that Deion Sanders is too flashy and he doesn't all that stuff is really what he was getting at. Well, one, Deion is a better coach than you. And I know that because he coaches at Colorado and you coach at CSU. Secondly, you coach a dirty ass fucking team. You didn't even have the balls to suspend their fucking cheap shot safety. It's saying that, we didn't coach that. We didn't coach that, but that's a play that happens. Yeah, it's a play that happens when you fucking take a cheap shot. Like, if Fitzpatrick plays dirty, if Fitzpatrick is dirty, then that play is dirty. Now, Deion,
was way worse.
Well, yeah, the play's over. He lacerated dude's organs, and so on top of that, you talk shit, you take a shot at dude's mom. Although I don't think he was trying to say that Deion had a bad mom, but it didn't come across very well. Your team's fucking dirty. On top of that, they're undisciplined. They had a lot of huge penalties at the end of the game that shot themselves in the foot. And now you're not known as Corvo or Norvo, whatever his name is, as the coach of that team. You're known as the coach who blew a lead against Deion Sanders, and you're Deion's little bitch. So I hope your mom raised you to learn from your mistakes, because you shit the fucking bed, your team shit the fucking bed, and quite frankly, nobody cares about you. So I hope Deion, I hope he whispered something. They shook hands at the end of the game. I hope he whispered something like, I got a pair of sunglasses for you in the locker room.
So like remember the Titans, right?
Yeah.
When Denzel throws the banana to that one coach because he was calling them monkeys.
Yep.
I hope Deion just tossed the glasses to the other coach. Like, there you go.
It's just so. And Deion got his guys too hyped up. They came into that game with too much energy. They didn't play well, and they had a chance to put him away in the first half. They had momentum in the first half, and then they just started shooting themselves in the foot. So
that's what surprised me, because even though I didn't catch the game in full, I kind of expected, with everything that was going on off the field, that Colorado would just come in and say, all right, well, we're going to punk your ass and just beat you to death.
Yeah, if they play them again, they will. Yeah.
Colorado State, they played them pretty tough. They were leading. Colorado came back. And here's a clip of the final play in double overtime where Colorado got the win with an interception.
Nicolosi steps up into the end zone in a crowd. No good. Picked off by Woods, and it's over. Buffaloes win it.
Fowler doesn't look too happy.
Now. Coach Prime and the Buffaloes improved to 3-0.
It's his name. That's his nickname, man. They apparently
prime time.
Despite being favorites, despite being ranked, they all rushed the field because that was a big win for them, especially with everything that was going on. But like Poet said, they kind of didn't play their best football, but still got it done. Now they go to Oregon, which Oregon's ranked, so that's going to be a real test for them since TCU.
Yeah, Oregon's quite a team too.
Oregon is favored by 21.
By what?
By the last I saw, Oregon was favored by 21 points.
Wow.
You want to get in some of that action? What's the spread?
You don't want to do that in college football. You do not.
That is how you lose your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
NFL, you can say, okay, I'll take those odds.
Yeah, there's an interesting stat about like whenever the line gets that big in football, like the team almost never covers. Like you can blow out like you can do what the Cowboys did to the Giants, although I can't believe they aired a snuff film on national television like that. Like that'll happen, but like that required a defensive touchdown, some special teams, but it got out of the way quickly. It made the team like get away from running the football and stuff like that. In the NFL, if someone's giving you 21 points, yeah, you take that bet. In college, oh my God, but 21 points is a lot. Let me see what the spread is now.
35.
I'm trying to get into sports betting.
No, don't do it.
Dude, I go to work and those guys they do the FanDuel thing and like they're talking about I put down 50, I won like 70, but then I lost like 150 after that. I'm like, oh my God, dude, I can't do that.
One of my buddies, he signed up for FanDuel, so he got like the free money or whatever, and some of the good they give you the bullshit bets like he made one off of like Anthony Richardson he made $100 off of Anthony Richardson complete 5 passes in the game. Like they're literally giving you something that's such a gimme just to get you into it, right? If the Rams don't kick a field goal and make it because he had this crazy 7-line parlay, he was out. He would have won $4,500, and I was in Discord with him, and he was very upset. My friend was very deeply upset, which I understood. It's still a 21-point line, by the way.
There was people saying that they thought that McVay was like doing betting because it was a meaningless field goal. But
because the spread was 10 points, and that
yeah. So like that was crazy. Like they thought that
Oh yeah, he went nuts. Poor John went nuts. He was like I would have loved to have that $4,500, and I was like I agree. I don't gamble. The problem is for me is that I think I'd like it a little too much, so I just don't start.
It's fun. I gambled for the first time in my life the other day. I went to a casino. I was at the craps table. Doing the craps.
Doing the craps. And he didn't even get it from a gas station sushi this time, so that's good. I like poker. I like playing poker. And so if I ever play poker, I play small
the only
stakes.
thing I do is probably blackjack, and that's because I'm more comfortable playing that than anything. But that's still.
Can you count cards? Can you count cards? Okay.
No.
Well, if you can, you make a lot of money until they ask you to leave. Yeah.
How many decks do they have?
I think two or three. I think they started using more decks now, like over the past 20 years.
Oh, to keep it from being counted.
Because I feel like I could do that, but I'd need to practice.
You probably could.
I'm pretty observant. I'm like, you know what I mean? But then I don't have the face and I have a really good like memory, so I'd be like,
I mean, it's legal, but there is a court case that said, because it was controversial when they started kicking people out for counting cards because it's a skill. But there was a court case, and of course, now it was, I believe, done in the state of Nevada, so the outcome is not very shocking. But they can ask you to leave. There's a pit boss. I don't know why I watched the interview with the pit boss, but he said stuff like, you want to be respectful, so you walk over to him, you say something like, the casino has decided that you should enjoy your winnings, and we just can't play you anymore. You're simply too good at the game for us. But it used to be back in the 80s and 70s, they would ask to have a word with you, and now your knee bends the wrong way. So, times have changed.
Yeah.
Golly, 21 points against a team with a good quarterback seems wild to me.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Like, I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to say this. I think that Colorado beats that spread. I think they might lose, but I think it's within 21.
21.
Because I'm not really convinced that Oregon's like this dominant team like they used to be in the past.
No, their defense sucks. They play in the pack. Like, it's a rule. You can't have a good defense if you play in the pack. If you have a fast corner, teach him to catch the pass. Now he's a wideout. That's the pack rule. It's what they do. It's what they know.
Yeah. So I think Deion will have their team up. They may not win it, but because it is in Oregon, but I think they stay within that 21 range. I'd make that safe bet.
Well, I'm pulling for them because I do like Colorado.
Oh, I hope they win, but like it is tough.
21 points is disrespectful. I have a surprise for you, Anubis. I thought that you might enjoy this. I decided to have a surprise segment that I came up on my own, and I want to debut it, and we'll see if we like it. It's called the shit list. It's regardless of team or affiliation. You see a player or a coach or organization do something so profoundly stupid they end up on your shit list. I'd like to debut it. I know it's a weird time to go back to NFL. I had it down in my notes, and I didn't look at my notes until just now. Okay, so on my shit list, and some of these are from week 1. Brian Dable, week 1, the Cowboys are destroying your quarterback that you just gave a bunch of money to. Now, I don't know why you did, but you did. It is deep into the fourth quarter. He has been hit so many times, he thinks he's a piñata, and you keep him in the game. If Daniel Jones gets hurt, your season is over. I thought their season was over at the start of the season. I didn't think they were going back to the playoffs. But they're not going to find a backup quarterback better than Daniel Jones. You leave them in there. Congratulations. You're on the shit list. Cam Akers, who just got traded today to Minnesota, also on the shit list. Last year, the Rams looked to trade him because there was a conflict of personality between him and McVay, is my understanding of it. He has a decent camp. I think he had a pretty decent opening game. McVay, who is a player's coach, said that like they're trading him for a different reason. It's not what it was last year, but I think it's pretty clear that it was because he was a healthy scratch. He got traded to the Vikings. Cam Akers, on some level, it's just hard to believe that you're not a bigger problem than Sean McVay, one of the most beloved coaches in the NFL. You are on the shit list. Matt Canada, you are always on my shit list. You'll never be off of it. You're number one.
No bias
number
there.
one. Absolutely, positively, no bias. Kareem Jackson would be on the shit list for being a fucking turd. I am going to put Sam Howell on my shit list because he beat the Broncos and made my friends sad. So Sam Howell, it's not fair that you're on the shit list, but you are on the shit list. I have to put Odell Beckham Jr. on the shit list. I love ODB. It's one of my favorite players. He has done nothing. He is already hurt. I'm not blaming him for being hurt. It would have been great if he could help out Lamar. Zay Flowers, though, looking very good. Looking like a real good player. On my shit list.
One thing I will say about the Rays before you continue on is that judging by the games that I've seen so far, they have a nice balance between their passing attack and running attack. So I think that's good on them. Like, I don't know if Lamar is really going to be the guy still going forward, but I like what Harbaugh is doing right now. They're not forcing them in one section or the other, and they're not over relying. Now they did lose Dobbins again, but
that sucks. I feel so bad for him.
But at least they're making it balanced, and like they're not just leaning on one thing versus the other because
they're not running too much or throwing too much.
Once it gets to the playoffs, you can't just rely on running because if they shut that down, you're going to have to pass your way out of it. So they got to keep it balanced.
It's also just hard to stay healthy, and then you're playing extra games. You haven't it's just brutal. The Carolina Panthers on my shit list. You're already destroying your young quarterback that you invested a lot in. Congratulations. You're an asshole. Who else is on the shit list? I had a couple more names.
Is on my shit list.
Yeah,
Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph is on the shit list. You keep making my friends sad, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Sean Payton, you're on my shit list. Throw the ball. Yeah.
You can't shake him. He keeps coming back.
I'm going to retroactively put Melvin Gordon III on the shit list just for all of what he put you through last season. I know it hurts. I'm a loving, giving friend. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. Oh, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and put myself on my own shit list because I picked the Bears to win their division. So I have to put myself on the shit list for being wrong already.
I was right there with you when we went through it. I said,
I'm not going to put you on my shit list. I'm not putting you on my shit list.
He's the only one I was like, really? Are you guys fucking stupid?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Rethink it. I was like, well, you make some good points.
Yeah, but they were all wrong. But it was hot when I said it. It just didn't. Did the song make any sense? No, but it sounded good.
To be fair, though, like when you're judging off last year and how good he looked and his improvement, you thought, okay, this team's going somewhere. And then of course the
Nope.
wheels fall off, and then
The
like
wheels.
this year,
Yeah. Kadarius Toney, you're on the shit list. Catch the fucking ball. Jesus Christ, please catch the ball. Trevor Lawrence on the shit list. How are you going to get only nine? Look, Kansas City has a pretty good defense this year, and I thought that they would because they had a young defense last year, and they got better. However, you're Trevor Lawrence. You have all the weapons in the world. I know none of his weapons are like a top 3 at their position, but he has a lot. He has a lot of really good players on offense, and obviously, Doug Peterson has not forgotten how to call games or coach. I'm not saying he's not going to do well, but Trevor, you got to be on the shit list. And last but not least, I introduce a controversial pick to the shit list. My dog for trying to eat the pillow every time we do one of these.
very controversial.
Oh no,
It's
is
very
she?
controversial. It's very controversial to put a French
Oh,
bulldog
Trevor,
on the shit
stop
list.
it.
Yeah, she's not, and I love her.
All right.
That's all I got
I think I'm gonna put Jackson
on your
what's his
shit list
face?
too.
On our shit
Kareem.
list, yeah, thank you. I'm like, what is his first name? Yeah, for like having those really wonderful helmet to helmet hits 2 weeks in a row and getting ejected from the game.
It did not help.
fucking,
And then your safety, your backup, you only dressed 3, so your backup safety got hurt. And then Sean Payton, another 3 safeties, not enough. You go with 4. And I'm trying. Is there anybody else that I would put on the? I'm sure I could think of.
How are you missing this? Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, you are so bad at football. I'm not mad at you for robbing the Cleveland Browns blind. I'm not mad at you for taking that guaranteed contract. You said no. I need your contract sucks, and he removed you. Deshaun removed the Browns from his list, and they said we'll give you all the money and it's guaranteed. And he said Cleveland sounds great this time of year. It doesn't. It's never great. Shitty place filled with sorrow. Once LeBron left, there was nothing good there. Anyway,
I hate Deshaun. He's on my shit list because Cleveland paid him a lot of money, and now every fucking quarterback in the universe thinks they deserve that money.
My money. That's right. And here's the best part. But here's why he's really on the shit list. You're gonna get 2 face masks and shove a ref. I can't believe they didn't suspend him for shoving a ref.
They've been talking about doing that. They're like considering saying because they went back and looked at the film. Like, dude, I saw it. Like, dude, he's.
They said they're not because it wasn't malicious.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, coddling him. They're scared. Whatever. Anyway, he's a bad quarterback. He's not as fast and twitchy as he used to be. He clearly doesn't love the game of football anymore. He pouts on the fucking sidelines. He takes bad sacks. He's inaccurate. He was bad in training camp. And I think he's a fucking scumbag. Now, I can't prove that he's a rapist, but I'm pretty sure that he is based off of what I've seen, or at the very least, a predator. So, Deshaun Watson, go fuck yourself. And thank you for the win, you asshole.
Yep.
All right, Anubis, any addition to the shit list?
No, but I know that we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up for us. Tomorrow, Neko and I will be guesting on Sci-Fi Century's channel. We're going to be giving our 4 favorite scenes from Godzilla vs. Mothra. We're there with a bunch of other panel guests, Jedi Vale, Kevin Lambert for Entertainment Headquarters. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So be sure to check that out.
I can't wait. Like you stay way more active because like
my job.
Yeah,
I don't get paid for, but it's my job.
But he stays more active with our friends than I do because I do work a lot. But we really haven't sat down much with them since we came back from Chicago in July, and it'll be so great because it was like the 4 of us, back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. It'll be the 5 of us again, we just hung out the entire time for a very long weekend, and it was just really nice, and I'm excited.
And then the other thing is I want to do another gaming video. I want to talk more about Diablo 4 because there's some things I want to touch on with that. It's actually kind of positive for the game. I do want to get Poetic on if I can. I have to try to work out the details, but he is also setting up a D&D type game for us for werewolves, and
For
Mr.
us?
Derek, not you, for me and Derek from Flick Snacks and
You
Knickknacks.
and Derek? Oh crap. How do I promote this? We'll have to put the link. He's
You'll
in.
have to talk to this guy over there.
Well, no, Derek, that's playing your werewolf game. He is in a contest. He's been doing some modeling.
Face of
and
horror.
acting. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we've been chatting in our own private messages.
What chats are you talking about?
You're not in. That's why.
Yeah, you don't like D&D.
I vote.
You don't have to be into everything.
I don't, but I vote every day, and I'm trying to tell everybody to vote for Derek Ronk every day. And he spells his name DERYKRONK.
Oh, his first name.
Yeah, it's not like regular Derek. It's DERYKRONK. And some of his modeling pictures that they're horror, but very nice. I'm happy for him. I know.
So, did you, Poet, figure out what day we're gonna do this? Because I knew maybe we thought about doing it today, but I don't know if Derek ever got back about.
No, he didn't. I think we're planning to play on the 28th. Is what it looks like.
The 28th.
Yeah, we all got pulled.
Am I here? What do I care? But
yeah, why do you care? Yeah, 28th is a good day because I'm not doing shit on that day.
What are we doing on the 28th?
Nothing.
Oh wait, no, it's the 31st because I have a game. I have a game on.
You mean the first? Because there's 30 days in September.
Hold on. Well.
Or are you looking at October? I'm
looking at both, unfortunately. But you are correct. There's only 30 days in this month. I sit corrected. I think we're playing on Thursday, the 28th.
Okay. I'll be sure to make note of that.
We have a shared calendar that we keep in our phone.
Sunday, Neko and I will be doing another Classic Reflections. We'll be doing Suicidal Tendencies, Art of Rebellion. No, I took that day off. Yeah, because we're going to Repticon on Saturday.
Do you feel like it's only open until 4? You think you're going to have a hangover from all like the looking at the spiders? Or
He's old. Let the man be tired.
Thank you. See, it's only how I got the fucking gaming computer because men had to talk to her. She don't listen to me.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
To me.
There's a lot we could do with that comment.
Yeah.
Men had to tell me what to do.
I'm not involved in this. I had nothing to do with that computer or that sentence. So anyway, it sounds like you have a very full calendar. Nico, I would invite you to the D&D game, but I know that it's not your cup of tea.
No, thank you. I'm not interested.
I need to talk to you after we're done here too, because about that. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So again, Poet, thank you for being here on this another episode.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a great show.
Give it like another couple weeks or so. We'll do it another one just to see where the teams are, and we'll talk more football and stuff like that because it's always fun to do that.
And then cry.
And then cry because I know we'll probably be 0-4 at that point.
Next week, the Steelers play.
Maybe I should just wait until we lose to the Jets to do another show.
Oh my god! The memes will be so. I don't even know what the football landscape would look like if y'all lost to Zach Wilson. If I was Sean Payton, I'd just move to like Aruba, Tierra del Fuego, and just retire in ignominy.
Yeah.
Crikey.
So, yep. I think I'm not feeling too well. I think I'm going to have to retire.
I'm going to hang it up.
I think I'm gonna give some of this money back and die on the beach.
No, I don't want to give any of the money back. It's all guaranteed. So no.
Well, you got to play. You got to coach to get that cash. It's in the Bible. Coach for cash.
So, do you have anything coming up, sir? Anything else?
I got. Let's see here. So I have our werewolf game. I have a homebrew game that launches tomorrow. I'm really, really happy about that. I have enough players for it. Then I also have another weekday game going, and then at the end of not this month, but next month, I will have another game going. So I'll be back up to about 3 to 4 a week. I got a writing project that I'm working on, and I'm staying busy. Pretty happy, and it's one day at a time. or one pillow at a time if you're
And as
sure.
we talked about, he's clicking things like he's a Don, mafia king.
Yep. It's my 3 favorite bullets in my hand.
Your 3 favorite?
My 3 favorite
They'll
bullets.
all
Yeah,
have
pull them out.
They all have,
Like,
they all have
them
Canada's name on it. Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding, Matt. Just
Oh
run the
God.
ball and throw a slant, more slants. It's just like I don't understand him. I don't understand him. He's not trying to do a bad job.
Thank you all for joining us on Poetic Carnage, and we hope you enjoyed the video. Drop some comments down if you got any comments you want about any NFL teams or college, what you thought. And we will see you the next time, and enjoy the rest of your fucking week.
Before